Hello, so today we're going to be going over a LILLIA Mythic game. So, in general, LILLIA is just a very strong unit. The patch hasn't really changed that. They nerfed, like, Nautilus in particular a little bit, but LILLIA is still, like, insanely fucking strong for some reason. This game's obviously going to be very wacky. We're starting off with Trainer Sentinels. So as you can see, I have Warden, Ghostly, and Mythic, right? This is before the patch where they just buffed 8 Ghostly, but when I looked at this opener, I was thinking to myself, you know, Mythic is always an eye-opener, because you only need 2 Mythic spats to get 10 Mythic. Mythic on a Trainer Sentinel is one of the best things to have, because if you get the extra spat, you only need to make it to level 9 in order to play 10 Mythic, right? You basically play your whole board Mythic, and then you have the Trainer Sentinel as your extra +1 unit, so you don't even have to make it to level 10. So it's very achievable, right? In most cases, when you're playing Mythic, you're usually playing a LILLIA carry. So you're already level 8. You just have to be stable enough on level 8 to make it to 9 by the end of the game. Find a way, bang, you're done, right? In terms of this opener, I think I have more of like a, I have more of an inclination to play Ghostly. Just because I know that LILLIA is usually hotly contested. I don't have like mana items in particular right now for LILLIA, so I'd rather just play towards, you know, a more safe line is typically I would say. That being said, it ends up being a LILLIA game, but we'll see how I kind of play around the opener into the ending. As you can see, I do have like the Ghostly in. You know, if I can find like 1 extra Ghostly unit, I'd gladly make a, you know, a Shen. I have a duplicator that I got dropped, so you know it's a really good reroll angle. Ink Shadow Crest is interesting. It fits in with the Ghostly board really nicely because I get the bonus item for the Ink Shadow off rip, which is pretty nice, and damage reduction. Heroic Grab Bag's a little bit awkward. I just take Pumping Up. Pumping Up is good with like most of the boards, which we'll show after. I'll make a mental note when I look at the stats. Also, we can do our little thing for right now. Thank you for all the support. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. We're going to have an RP giveaway at 500 subs. We just finished our previous giveaway, so make sure to subscribe if you want to be entered in that. And follow the instructions when we get close to our goal. Thank you. Yeah, so in general, I think like, I'm going to flip back and forth with the stats, right? Like if we look here, and we go like augments, and we go gold augments, and we go placement, I think Pumping Up is really good. Now this is the patch right before, so we should switch it just one day, just so that there's better stats. It's a little bit better than average, and as you can see, it's pretty good with like the Ash board. I think it's also good with LILLIA, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's just good with LILLIA. That's what I was that's what I was trying to remember. So you know, not the best, but definitely not the worst to take. But Pumping Up is also really good with Ghostly in general, because Ghostly you want to build a lot of attack speed. There it shows a lot with snipers. Ghostly reroll isn't really that big of a thing, but it has shaped its way back through like a Zyra Ghostly that has been doing really well. But I'm down to just play like vertical Ghostly with the Ghostly +1. The main reason is that you can hit 6 Ghostly without having to like level very high, right? You can hit 6 Ghostly on level 7 or so, right? Because with the Ghostly +1, you just have to play like the low level Ghostlies. You don't have to find like that Morgana Kane. You just have to find like one of them, and you can be pretty stable with that, right? I'm looking around. There's a lot of porcelain spats. There's a lot of like dryads. I don't want to touch on that. And there's one other Mythic player that has Mythic Invoker, so I know I'm going to be contested on the Mythic line, which is why I was leaning more towards playing, what's it called? I was leaning more towards playing Ghostly, because I know that Mythic player is probably just going to play Mythic, right? I'll gladly just take the uncontested line that nobody has a Ghostly spat. I can maybe even fit in the Zyra line, because the Zyra line, having a Ghostly +1 is very important, like the Zyra Shen reroll line. Plus I have this lesser duplicator, so I'm totally down. I lose the first fight, but now like some of the opponents are a little bit weaker, so I'm doing all right here. I'm not making Econ just yet. Hopefully next turn I can make Econ. I think it might be a little bit difficult, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't think I'm making Econ again, because I probably want to hold on to the Caitlyn pair. Oh wait, maybe I can make Econ. Yeah, if I just play the Jax instead of the Riven. It's a little bit less. It makes my board a little bit weaker because the Riven's a good unit. Riven gives Bruiser to the whole board because I have the Aatrox in. But I think I just do this. So I swap out the Riven. Here, I'll use the inking. Let me open it up. So I swap out the Riven here just because now my bench has a value of 5. Right? Or it has a value of 6 actually. So I can actually sell the Riven and sell some units. Right? I could have maybe made Econ without it, but I want to hold this Caitlyn pair. So if I didn't have the Riven and I lost the fight, like here I won the fight, so it made sense. Like maybe I didn't have to sell the Riven, but I'm holding on to this Bruiser and the Caitlyn pair because I wanted to upgrade Caitlyn to Caitlyn 2. So that's why I swapped out the Riven. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's technically I could have gotten away with selling this and keeping the Riven in, but it's okay. Jax is good because if I can swap out somebody for Senna, then I get an Ink Shadow item, which can all help me streak a lot this stage. When I'm looking at here, it's probably just take, like, if I don't, like, I'm pretty high up on the, if I don't get, like, an item to complete an item, right? Like, if I don't get tier, or if I don't get, like, Rod is, like, if I'm playing towards Lilia, I just take the Aatrox, right? I could have taken Rod here and make, like, something else. I have a tier already, so I'm kind of down. I'm double scouting. I'm making sure, like, okay, I might contest on, like, a reroll line. There is a Senna player that has an Ink Shadow item, which means that I'm probably going to be contested on a Senna Ghostly line, which is fine. What I was looking for is to complete this as a Shojin, right? Shojin is pretty good on, like, a lot of units. But instead, I just take the chainmail with the Aatrox because in my head, it's like having Aatrox pair. Maybe I hit Aatrox 2. It's fine, right? I'll make it work. A lot of times, like, if you don't have a component and you don't have, like, if you don't have a component that you're taking and there's not, like, a strong offensive component, here I already have a defensive component, right? Chainmail is fine because chainmail, you could make Sunfire Cape, which is anti-heal, right? Typically you'd take a Rod because Rod's really flexible in either making an AP item or making a Morello, like an anti-heal item, or making a Spark, which is a shred item, right? So typically Rod's a little bit better. Here I like having the Aatrox pair. Whenever you're playing something like Ghostly, or even if I end up pivoting to Mythic, you want to have a lot of gold. You want to have a lot of tempo, right? I want to make sure that I win as many fights as possible, preserve as much HP as possible, so that I can hit those higher levels, so that if I want to play towards Mythic, I can. This is kind of awkward, because I'm a level 5, and there's just a LILLIA here, like the 2% chance. This is like God himself coming down telling me that you're not playing Ghostly. So now I guess I'm just LILLIA. I just have to contest Mythic line. This isn't what I wanted to do originally, but it is what it is. Hey, guess what? Mythic LILLIA is already in, and this is great because she's already gonna get her Mythic stacks up, so she'll be like really strong for late game. I think this is like the second time. I should maybe hold on to this Bard. See, like whenever I zoom in, like if I was streaming, that would be like when I'd be like, huh, like what the fuck, like, you know. But so it's a little bit high roll to find a LILLIA this early. You'll see later that I don't high roll that much because like everybody else finds like 4 costs early as well. So like, you know, this just helps guarantee that I can streak. Maybe I might not even beat this guy actually. Oh wait, never mind. LILLIA's broken. These two lined up, so all the balls aligned and hit them all for a bunch of damage. I know I took this Aatrox pair, but I sell it to make Econ. I could have maybe sold these two to make Econ instead. Maybe would have been a little bit better. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Now, the thing with Ghostly is really good for tempo, right? Until your Ghostly units kind of die, right? Like, Ghostly, that's why Ghostly usually you can play at tempo, right? When opponents don't have enough damage to kill the Ghostlies, the Ghostly stacks really ramp up and make it really strong, right? When your Ghostly units end up dying really fast, then then Ghostly's really weak because you don't get the Ghostly stacks up and you lack the damage, and like it's a stall based comp, right? That's why with Ghostly you usually see people reroll, right? Because a 3-star Shen, 3-star Alawi, 3-star Aatrox, and when you have like these units that just live forever, then it comes to a point where there's so many Ghostly stacks that their own auto attacks do so much damage that it makes you like, it makes the comp very viable, right? It's not as viable anymore. I don't know how it works nowadays with like 8 Ghostly and all that stuff. Here, there's blue buff. that I could make on Lilia. Blue buff's not bad if you play 4 Invoker with Lilia. I had somebody comment that in one of my videos today. I also want to say, like, I understand sometimes when people comment, this is no flame, but it's like I commented as well. It's like they were very right. It's like you play blue buff when you have 4 Invoker because it works out. But if you have only 2 Invoker, you play Shojin. Right? That's what the comment was on one of my previous videos when I showed Lilia. But like I did like a whole 10-minute explanation of the exact same thing in the videos. I think the person just skipped the video. So I don't know. Like, you know, if you're gonna comment like to say what I should have built and what I shouldn't have built, like, you know, I probably said it in the video. Just FYI, if you watch the video fully. But anyways, I make Shiv here instead of blue buff because I want to make Shojin, because if I'm playing vertical mythic, I'm not going to play more than 2 Invoker. I might play 4 Invoker, but it's really hard to fit in if I'm playing, like, okay, if I'm playing 10 mythic, it's not 4 Invoker. If I'm playing, whatever, I still need a shred component. I hit mythic crest, so this is great for me. So now I can play towards 10 mythic, right? 10 mythic, level 9. So basically what I was saying is I made Shiv because I need a shred component and I have no shred items, right? I have neither a cloak nor do I have a rod because I didn't take those items because I thought I was going to be playing towards ghostly, right? So in order for item economy to work out really well, instead of wasting 2 tiers on a blue buff for Lilia and then forcing myself to play like a 4 Invoker line to make it viable, instead what I decide to do is I decide to slam the Shiv early, hold on to this until I can make either a Shojin or Adaptive Helm, just some sort of mana item to put on the Lilia, and that'll make do, right? I can make like red buff or anti-heal with this bow, right? I have options with these other 2 components. But I basically get a mythic crest, so now I'm playing 5 mythic and 4 ghostly. I'm going to be very strong for this early game stage because I found the Alawi now, right? So I have a good front line. Ghostly, as you can see, people aren't killing the ghostly units right away, so they're just taking a bunch of damage in the ghostly stacks. And I have shred, which synergizes with the ghostly, so I'm kind of playing like a hybrid mythic ghostly board. My end goal is to get to 10 mythic, right? 10 mythic is my win con. I also should scout to see if the other mythic player hits 10 mythic, just to know for myself. But I am kind of broke, right? If you look at me, I'm level 6 and I'm 40 gold, right? It's a little bit difficult, right? But here I'm just like making sure I put in all the mythics in my board. So I need to hold on to these Chogats. Nico might come back, so I don't necessarily need to hold on to Nico. I also have 1 Nico over here already. Nico is pretty good to put in. My front line is so funny. This is why I wanted to play Ghostly in the first place, because basically, like, look, we have Warden, which synergizes with the Alawi. I put in a Behemoth for this guy. So basically, like, all my frontline units have some sort of frontline trait active as well, which is really funny. Usually with Ghostly, you just rely on them being really strong. You don't have the frontline synergies because you're just shoving in, like, you know, sometimes you have like Warden in, but you're usually just shoving in all the Ghostly units, and they're all different frontline units, right? Or all different frontline traits. This guy's kind of scary, but not really. They're slamming, which means that they're just leveling a lot faster than me. But they took Invoker Crest, which means that they're playing like, you know, vertical Invoker with Mythic. So they're definitely committed to that Lilia line. They're going to play like either 4 and 6 Invoker. And they're way stronger than me right now. This is scary that there's a spat on Carousel, because, you know, in these lobbies where everybody can hit verticals with these Trainer Sentinels, it is definitely like a really risky situation. I had my streak broken, but I am decently strong. I'm just a little bit poor, right? I'm just not that rich right now, which is a little bit scary. Anyways, I just take the Alloon because it's the most expensive unit. I already made my Shred component. I don't really care about making Adaptive Helm right now. I can just make a Bramble or Sunfire or something else, right? It's kind of unfortunate. I have so many extra chainmails that I've been picking up. I didn't even upgrade this Aatrox anyways, so I took the Aatrox for no reason. So my first carousel was kind of a bust. Imagine if I had what's it called, a rod here. I could have made like something, or I would have been at least closer to 1 more Lilia item, which would be nice, but you know, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, I am pretty broke. The reason I'm broke is just because everything's very expensive, right? I bought this Lilia very early. In stage 2, I was holding like a bunch of these 2-cost units, right? So early in stage 2, I didn't really establish those econ thresholds that got my econ rolling to a point where I was like very reliably strong, which kind of sucks because I'm also losing some fights now, which means that I'm not even getting like my streak gold, right? So it was kind of like a little bit of a bust, which kind of sets me up poorly for the rest of the game. But it was kind of awkward. I think if I didn't try to play towards Ghostly, the reason I was holding so many units and the reason I was like losing econ and like playing around these was because I thought I was going to be playing a reroll Ghostly line. When you're playing rerolls, you typically want to hold on to everything just because you want to make sure that you hit the units as much as possible. That's why on the first Karos I took the Aatrox, right? It's very tempo based. You want to hit everything. This guy is going to be really scary later because they're just gonna hard contest whatever I'm playing. This guy's also kind of scary with the Dryad +1, right? If he finds an Azir, that's gonna be really fucking broken. And then this guy also looks like they're angling LILLIA, right? Like if I look at their items, so it looks like I might be in a 3-way contest for LILLIA. Maybe that person switches out or something. But this is a little bit awkward. Also, but like there's a couple people with Sage Emblem, like this guy. He can also just like pivot LILLIA if he finds a LILLIA, right? You can just play like Dryads with LILLIA. It's not actually that bad because you can just play like Ornn in place of like one of your frontline units. People used to play Ornn anyways because you play Azir if you're playing like a 4 Invoker line. So it's very scary, my situation, especially since I won't be able to roll on 4-1. I have to roll on 4-2. So a lot of these, especially like this guy, I think this is the guy who's contesting LILLIA. They have more HP than me and they're definitely richer than me. And they have an econ augment like slamming, so they're just going straight to like the level that they're going to. They're going straight to level 8. So that's a little bit scary. There's a Kayn here. Kayn was exalted, right? The exalted would have lined up nicely with Ghostly anyways, but because I have this LILLIA, I'm just deciding to play around the unit, right? The way that it works always is like, you know, I would obviously play like something along, I would have considered playing still Ghostly if I hit like, you know, more of the Ghostly units already. This is actually horrible for me though. They drop a spat, right? So I wasted an augment selection on a spat to guarantee my like 10 mythic win con. I don't have another spat to make, right? I can make a Ghostly spat, but I don't want to make a Ghostly spat because I have to make a Shojin right now. Ghostly spat uses sword, right? And then I don't have another item for LILLIA. It's just a little bit awkward, so I'm not going to use this spat for a while, right? The spat that I would make here is a Ghostly spat. I reforge this thing. What did I get? I got a what did I get a bow? Sorry. I thought I got a glove. Let me just rewatch this. I wasn't paying attention well. I reforged one of the chainmails, and what do I get? Oh, I got a belt. Okay, yeah, it's always Nashor's then. Right, I'm just trying to complete my LILLIA items because I need to be strong as possible because I want to go level 9, right? I have to 4-2 it because I'm really broke. Even if I 4-2 it, I'm still going to be broke, so it's a little bit awkward. Hopefully I can win at least this fight, but I don't even know if I win this fight. I think I win this fight, right? My front line should be strong enough to survive this Nico. Oh, wait, this is close. No, I win for sure, right? LILLIA's going to cast again. Yeah, we're fine. Alright, let's see what my last augment is. I remember my last augment I wasn't sure about, so I'm definitely going to look up the stats for the augment to see what's going on, right? Okay, so Little Buddies or Magic Wand, right? I think I end up taking Magic Wand. So let's just look at the stats for this real fast. So let's go like LILLIA, 2-star, 7 mythic, right? 3.37 augments. Let's go like Mythic Crest is really good. Obviously, let's go gold. How much? So I remember Magic Wand is good. Yeah, I looked at the stats of this before. There are like very few games, obviously. I'm just saying like in terms of like thematically having like most of your units when you're playing 7 mythic are doing AP. So having something that boosts AP when they already have like, you know, a bunch of AP, like it fits really nicely with like this. It synergizes nicely, right? But it's not like that much of an improvement. Little Buddy seems like it might be good. It doesn't really show. Let's drop it to 5 mythic and see what it says. Is there no little buddies ever? Is it like never little buddies? Yeah, I remember with like the 5 mythic line, Magic Wand was also really good. Oh, sorry, this is the old. I need to put on the old patch. That's why the numbers are so low. I was like, why are the numbers low for everything? Okay, now let's look. That's why there's no little buddies. Okay, sorry. It's a new patch day. This was played with the patch right before. So I think Magic Wand is minus, yeah. But then little buddies should be somewhere, because if you're playing 7 mythic, you do have little buddies value. Oh, is it better? It's better by a little bit, it says. Yeah, I figured it might be little buddies. I just wasn't sure. I knew that I looked up Magic Wand when I was playing, like in the last time I did like stat lookups for this comp. So yeah, it was take little buddies probably. The reason little buddies is good because when you're playing 7 mythic, you're playing like the Nico, the Kog'Maw, the what's it called? The other dude, Cho'Gath, right? So it makes a lot of sense. I just kind of, I think I fixate on Magic Wand, giving me like another rod component, which is pretty fine. Yeah, that's okay. And then I'm just 7 mythic here, level 8. I put in the Bard. I'm still holding on to these ghostly units, like this 4 ghostly trait, but there's not much I can really do besides this. I just kind of decide, okay, let's just upgrade the Aatrox, whatever. I find the other LILLIA, so now I'm basically 0 for a little bit, right? I still don't have a Nautilus, which kind of sucks. Nautilus would be really nice to fit in with the as an extra unit. I switch out the this guy just for another frontline unit. But this is the problem here, right? I'm only LILLIA 1. But I do have like this 4 ghostly does help my damage a lot, right? So I kind of have like a little bit of a hybrid with 4 ghostly and the mythic. I might be able to play this long term. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm thinking like if worse comes to worse and I never hit and I'm stuck on level 8 and I don't ever get to like 10 mythic, I could make this work, right? Just by playing this 4 ghostly variation, right? This is specifically a trainer sentinel variation, obviously. Here Malphite shows up, so Malphite can knock off items. This is going to come into play late in the game. You're going to see me make like one of the greatest fumbles of all time. So, you know, just pay attention. Stay tuned, you know. I find this Azir, I should almost definitely take this Azir. I think I roll past it because I think it's just too expensive, right? And I can't fit into my board, right? That's why I'm shuffling my units, right? I could easily like drop 2 mythic and play like 4 invoker and play Azir as a carry, and that would probably be okay. Here it's like an Annie 2, right? I'm pretty confident that an Annie 2 is going to be stronger than this Aatrox. So I just put in the Annie. Like Annie with Mythic is really good because Annie kind of scales off of HP. I know they nerfed Annie and Annie's not as strong anymore, but Annie also gives a little bit of anti-heal, which solves my immediate problems to needs like a little bit of anti-heal in like the current match. So I decided to just like take it like an upgraded 4 cost. It doesn't matter if it's nerfed or not. It doesn't matter that I'm 3 invoker and 3 ghostly. An upgraded 4 cost is an upgraded 4 cost. I feel more comfortable having this Annie than I do not having the Annie. And as I say that, I'm pretty sure I just lose this fight. Yeah, my Kog'Maw was like 1 cast off of fighting. That's like this is a 3 invoker 3 ghostly diff, which is really embarrassing. And funny. I remember doing that. I remember putting in the Annie and saying Annie surely is good, and then it like literally is an Annie diff that I think I lost that fight because I put in the Annie. But in my head, I think it's fine. I think having an upgraded 4 cost is better than Aatrox 2, right? Even though Aatrox 2 gave like the synergies that make the left side of this column look really nice, I'm trying to make it to 10, right? Or sorry, I'm trying to make it to level 9. Right, I'm contested maybe 3 ways LILLIA. I didn't scout because I'm really busy, right? I'm busy trying to fix my board and roll, so I don't have time to like look at other people's boards. And I'm trying to figure out, do I even invest in this, keep this Annie and invest in it? I take Sword on Carousel to get the Ghostly emblem. Now I'm back to 4 Ghostly. This was my thought process from before as well. And now just for streaking, I think I'm just gonna use my duplicator on this guy, right? I'm not really close to 3-starring anything, right? There's no need to greed my duplicator anymore. I should have done it a couple turns ago, but now Tom Kench is a little bit tankier. With the Annie, I have some sufficient frontline. It was probably, though, one thing that's, because Malphite knocks off the units, it was almost definitely switch out one of these for something else. Here, remember when I was saying this spat is really bad for me? This is why it's really bad. Because this guy that was mythic, he didn't get a mythic crown, right? But he still is gonna be stronger than me. Because look, he hit LILLIA 2 on 8, right? Like, I rolled, look at me, I'm 0 gold level 8. This guy's 50 gold level 8, right? Like, he was just really a lot richer than me to start with. Has slamming, so he's gaining a bunch of EXP and leveling up really fast. He's 100% guaranteed to be 10 mythic on level 9. And he has a LILLIA 2, so he's stable with LILLIA 2. So for me, it's like, you know, I'm just gonna bleed out. If I don't find another LILLIA, I know I'm LILLIA paired, right? I'm trying to decide, do I greed and go 9? What do I do here? I'm in a really bad spot. Like, I'm not in a bad spot relative to the game. My spot's good relative to the rest of the lobby. But in order to win the game, it's not very good. So here, I'm swapping out the Shen because I'd rather have Bruiser for all of my front line than have Behemoth for just Shen. So I play the Aatrox instead. And now I'm still this 7 mythic 4 Ghostly, right? Typically when you're playing LILLIA, you usually see like a Morgana, or if you're playing 7 mythic, you see a Hui, right? And the idea behind that is that you need to have a dual carry, because the LILLIA, as much as she pumps out damage in the current meta, a lot of times you need a dual carry established in order to be like very strong, right? This guy's probably maybe 6 porcelain, boiling point 6 porcelain, I don't know. But you know, it just sucks. Once again, I'm like 1 auto cast off, right? If I just had a second damage dealer instead of this Kog'Maw, right? If this Kog'Maw was a Hui, I would be like, that's my goal to like, would be my goal, right? But it's just rough. In today's meta, you usually want like 1 person to clean up and 1 person to like do work, right? LILLIA is really good at sniping the backline, right? But in order to snipe the backline, she needs a little bit of help. That's why she works really well with Morgana, right? Morgana, LILLIA as a comp came out to be really good because you have a bunch of AP with Sage, you have a bunch of tankiness in her front line. Mythic is tankiness as well as AP. And LILLIA, she pumps out damage, but a lot of times, like especially if the opponent has healing or any sort of like, or she misses, you want to have like an extra damage dealer that kind of cleans up the back line as well. So here I'm just rolling. I hit the LILLIA 2, so now I'm stable, right? I can't really greed to go 9 just yet. Right, whatever it is, the game is the game, right? Here I could just make anti-heal. It's probably just make anti-heal just to guarantee that I have a little bit of everything. But I need to hit this LILLIA 2. I've been LILLIA 1 since like stage 2. You know what I mean? It took me a lot of gold. I'm level 8, 20 gold, right? I have to roll deeper because I was broke. It just didn't work out, right? If I didn't play towards this Ghostly line early game, I think that was my main mistake, right? I was holding and prioritizing, like, playing, like, more 2-cost units to try and tempo really heavily. I did preserve a lot of HP, but obviously, like, there's people that are way stronger than me, right? This guy, I don't think he is. I think I beat him. Nice. Like, this is a LILLIA 2 diff, right? A lot of those fights where it came down to, like, 1 unit, right? If I had LILLIA 2, I basically beat all of them, and I'd be, like, 20 more HP, right? But you saw my situation. I rolled as deep as I could. I rolled to 0. I tried to reestablish a little bit of econ. I'm delaying my level. I'm delaying my 10 mythic that I have. Like, I have 10 mythic, right? I just need to oh wait, who am I missing? I'm missing Nautilus, right? I need Hui and Nautilus, which aren't that difficult to hit on 9, right? But you know, it sucks. This guy's gonna be 10 mythic. Look, he's level 9, 0 gold. It sucks because he also has no combat augments, right? I think I would have beaten this guy 100% of the time if I just hit LILLIA earlier, right? If I had like a little bit more gold, which is obviously my fault that I didn't have the gold. But that's why playing with gold is really important, right? I kind of fumbled the bag a little bit early game trying to play towards like a Ghostly reroll angle because I had the duplicator and the Ghostly spat. But if I had committed just saying like I'm just gonna play Mythic LILLIA and I slammed some items relative to that and I kind of aligned myself to that idea earlier, I think I would have been in a better spot, right? I could have made more econ thresholds. I could have just sold some of the Ghostly units, but it's okay. It is what it is. This is what happened. This is like the variance of TFT, right? This is a very firstable position. But the reason it's not firstable for me right now is because I'm so far behind that other guy that is contesting my units that it's gonna take a while before I can you know, from here it looks like I'm gonna get second. There's a chance I can play for first, but it looks like I'm gonna get second. The reason is that right now I'm very strong. I have more HP than most people, but the only person that has more HP than me is the person that is like, the person that has more HP than me is the person that's way stronger than me, who is playing my comp, that has all the upgrades, that is also going to be 10 mythic, right? So I cannot, like, anything that's going to happen, like when you're playing 10 mythic versus 10 mythic, right? Which is what this game's probably going to end up being. When I play 10 mythic versus 10 mythic, it's just going to come down to like who has more HP and who has more units, right? Like the augments start to matter a lot less because 10 mythic is going to buff the units by so much that it doesn't really matter if I have like an extra 10 AP from the extra rod that I have, you know what I mean? This sucks because I don't know how this guy lost, but like, fuck, man. Like, now I'm last pick. Like, what do I even take? Like, I'm probably taking a frontline item. I would have loved this sniper's emblem. It's Malphite, so I can put the item on the Lillia, and then it would be sniper's Lillia. But I don't get it because, like, I'm not last pick, and like, this lobby is so fucking unreasonable. There's been a spat drop. There's been a spat on carousel. It's trainer sentinels. There's Ornn items. Like, how many fucking encounters are we gonna have in this fucking lobby? It's ridiculous. I would have been okay if it was just Trainer Sentinel. I know I think I voted for Trainer Sentinel as well, because I always vote for Trainer Sentinel, but I hate it when it's like this kind of wild ass lobby. I'm just lucky I got a mythic spat. Imagine if I got some like bum ass spat like Reaper. I had a game where I got Reaper spat a couple games ago, right? And it was so bad because I got baited into playing 4 Reaper and I went 6th and I lost a bunch of LP, right? When you go 6th, like in master level lobbies, right, especially when you're climbing as fast as I'm climbing, your MMR is kind of fucked a little bit until you establish yourself as a masters level player. Your MMR is really fucked. So like going second, I gain less LP going second than I do losing LP going 6th, you know what I mean? Which doesn't sound right because it's like, you know, 7th and 8th are so much worse and second is like, you know, like going first is hard, right? But I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like you lose as much LP for a 6th as you do gain from a second. So your margin of error is very small. You have to be averaging like in the 3s in order to be actually climbing. So it's very difficult. But then after a while, if you're like consistently at like, you know, a couple 100 level masters, it's the same as like every level, right? Whenever you're like hit diamond 4 and you're trying to climb, you probably have a similar LP gains. Even if you're like in like silver, right? If you hit silver and you hit gold 4, you might find a similar experience of LP gains, right? It's just like that. That's just how the MMR system works. This guy found the Hui and he's duplicating already. He has 3 items on Hui, 3 items on Lillia. I have a fucking Annie on my board. And I'm finding 8 Bruiser Silas with like, I don't know what the fuck this item is. Oh man, so it's probably not a first here, but we'll try our best. You know, you never know, right? I have pumping up, which might help me. Like I do scale into late game, so the longer the game goes on, which we're going to be entering stage 6, I do get a lot of attack speed, so I might be able to make it work. Right now my goal is to just go level 9, right? Go level 9, try and fit in my board and make it work, right? The problem is, like, I will lose some ghostly value. Like, I'll have to drop these 2 units once I hit level 9. But yeah, we need a Nautilus and we need a Hui, and we'll make it work, right? That's all we can really ask for, a Nautilus and a Hui. But yeah, the jump from 10 Mythic makes it so that nothing else is really viable, right? Like, a vertical 10 trait, when you need 2 spats, there's like really no other board I can play. I have a little bit of options of who I put on my team as my extra emblem holder, but typically you just want to put a legendary unit, right? Like Mythic Udyr would probably go nuts if I can find like an Udyr 2, which I just skipped over. Okay, so now I have 10 Mythic, right? I just need to put this in and this in, and I need to put this guy over somebody. Who is it? Is it Annie? No, there should be one more. Who's missing? Oh, I just didn't put in a unit. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I just didn't. When I leveled up, I didn't put in a unit. Yeah. I got confused rewatching myself be confused. Like, anyways, this is 10 Mythic versus 10 Mythic. You'll see what I mean now, right? This guy has 3 item. This Lillia doesn't have a casting item, which is like the main thing that could make it work out for me. But as you can see, even though it looks close, it's not really that close because their frontline unit is still alive. one backline unit still alive, and the LILLIA still alive. Also 2 turns away from 3-item Hui 2, right? I'm Hui 1, right? They still have room to be a lot stronger. So I'm probably going to lose against that guy. Put the item on the Hui. My positioning is a little bit awkward, but that's because I have this, what's it called? This item on this dude, right? Hull Crusher. I'm not sure if Hull Crusher is better on Annie, but I really like having Crown Guard on Annie. And then I figured that this is probably a little bit better. Here I just like fuck up my Crown Guard, my placement of the Hull Crusher. So please note, I should be buying Udyr though. That's like the main thing, right? Having an Udyr too, so here I lose Hull Crusher value. I don't think it will matter that much in this fight, but that's definitely an optimization problem. The bigger problem is that I need to make like a Nautilus too, and then I want to transfer the items over to the Nautilus because the Nautilus has the stun, which is really important. So having the Nautilus live as long as possible is good for me. But yeah, because I have pumping up, I feel like because I have combat augments, this guy is beatable. It's just that they're so far ahead that it's very unlikely, right? So that's the main takeaway from this. But as you can see, like, it's Trainer Sentinels. I feel like I played to my out well. I played around the LILLIA. I hit the Mythic +1. I would have had the Mythic +1 anyways because the whole lobby got a fucking spat. So I kind of wasted my second augment, which kind of sucks. Because I could have taken like another combat here and then be like even stronger. But I should be buying these Udyrs. That's my biggest mistake, right? This Annie I don't think is as good as having like an Udyr 2. Like a Mythic Udyr 2 I think would definitely like slay harder than the Annie. Here I finally realized, oh shit, Hull Crusher. Right, so I repositioned for Hull Crusher. This guy's also extremely fucking strong, by the way. Irelia 2 with 8 Bruiser. Or is this the Bruiser guy? Yeah, this is the 8 Bruiser guy. Irelia 2 with 8 Bruiser is so fucking strong. I think this guy might even lose to the 8 Bruiser guy. Like the guy that I'm trying to play for first. Yeah, look how close this is, and this is a clone, right? Yeah, so I just about beat him, right? Doesn't get past the Annie. Yeah, look, the Mythic guy lost against the Bruiser guy. 10 Mythic, as good as it seems, it's actually like, compared to some of the other vertical trades, sometimes it just fucking sucks. Here, there's not, I probably should take Protector's Vow. I just take the Mythic +1. The reason I take the Mythic +1 is because this guy's also Mythic and has all the items. So the Mythic Crown's good because I can drop one of the shitters, right? I can drop this Kog'Maw. I can drop this guy, right? I can just play like another random unit. Silas is probably a good pick. I should hold on to Silas. Here I just play like 4 Invoker because I'm just trying stuff out. Okay, here's the short list of units I should pick. I should pick Silas. I should pick Udyr. Right? Silas gives Bruiser. And Udyr is just strong. But I should be looking for like units that are like, how do I phrase it? Here there's a way, so I might be able to make a way too. I should be looking for units that are what's it called? Like this 4 Invoker doesn't really matter. I'm also making Shojin on LILLIA, so 4 Invoker isn't that great anyways. It does help the Hui a little bit, but not really. What I should be looking for is just legendary units, right? Legendary units with mythic spats are probably going to be way stronger than anything else, but I'm kind of just a little bit panicked. I'm also a little bit defeated because this guy's just in such a better position than me, and I felt like, you know, I got dropped a LILLIA on stage 2 and I couldn't convert to the win, right? Just because I didn't have enough gold and I didn't hit the LILLIA early enough to be able to go 9 as fast as him, right? So I'm just a little bit bummed out. I think they're going to be level 10. I think this guy's going to be level 10 by the time I can fight him again. So now I'm just switching items over to Nautilus because Nautilus is more important that Nautilus lives. The Ghostly Spat isn't the best to put on, so I probably want to put Ghostly Spat on like Annie or something. But anyways, yeah, look, level 10, Ornn 2, Azir 2, Wei 2, right? It's kind of the game's kind of over, which is okay. You know, it's not the end of the world, but it's pretty much just a second from this point. But the main thing I should be switching out is if I had like an Udyr 2. You'll see that this guy has Irelia 2, Wei 2, Azir 2, well, not Azir 2 yet, but I think he finishes the game with Azir 2. But look how close this fight is, right? This is the difference with combat augments that I wanted to point out, right? Like, these units are almost dead. The frontline units are almost dead. It's like like it's not that close because it's a 4-unit loss, but it's like kind of close, right? If I had like an Udi or two, I might be able to beat this guy. Anyways, I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying, like, in terms of optimization, Annie doesn't cut it as well anymore, even though she's like a really good holder of a mythic spat. Just having like a legendary unit, right? Like Udyr that stuns, right? If Udyr runs this way and stuns the Lilia, right? It's GG, right? Like I can just get an Udyr stun on the Lilia, and then I could just cheese out the fight. The problem is I have to cheese out like 4 fights. That's the problem, right? If we were both 1 HP, right? If we were both like 5 HP, then there's like a really good chance I can go first here. Probably adaptive just for Hui to cast. Anyways, you're gonna watch me fumble anyways. So like any chance that you think I have of winning this fight is gonna go like straight out the window right now. Here I put in Silas just because Silas is his bruiser. Right, my thought process is if I make my front line and my units a little bit tankier. Adaptive Helm is really good on Nautilus as well, so I just put Adaptive Helm on Nautilus. Switch off the items off Annie because I want to put the Crown Guard on Nautilus. And here's where I fuck up royally. As you can see, I put the... Yep, there we go. And who holds my mythic spat? Uh-oh. I put the wrong spat on the Annie. So I'm not 10 mythic, and yeah. Yeah, we'll just quit. I was kind of embarrassed. Oopsie, I threw. But I don't think I was gonna get better than second anyways. Look at this guy's board. Azir 2-3 items, Hui 2-3 items, Lilia 2-3 items, Nautilus with Invoker Crown, Ornn with double tank items, plus the rest of the mythic. Compared it to my board, right? My item economy is so much worse, right? I do have like 3 items here and 3 items here, but it just kind of sucks. But it is what it is. But anyways, this was hopefully a fun game. Now, if you don't have like the Mythic +1 or the Mythic +2, I would like to point out, right? Like even in this lobby without like all the Giga High Roll, like 10 Mythic, right? This isn't like at its core a 10 Mythic game, right? Because for most of the game, I'm just playing 7 Mythic Lilia carry. You know what I mean? Right? Yes, I have these ghostly units in, but this is a very viable line, right? If you don't play Sage Lilia, like it's a little bit weaker, but if you have like a Mythic +1 and you're playing towards like this type of Lilia board, or if Morgana is really contested, because sometimes Morgana just gets eaten up by like a lot of other comps, right? If there's like a Zyra reroller as well, then like you can't find Morgana. You can play towards 7 Mythic, right? I'm 7 Mythic and I'm beating a lot of these high roll boards, right? There's a guy with like 2 porcelain spats, Ash, right? There's a lot of these boards that are very, very fucking capped out and strong, right? I get a top 4, I think, before I even get 10 Mythic, right? Like I'm already in top 4 position. I guess I just hit 10 Mythic here, right? But just to point out, right? Like I'm in a decently good spot to win the game, or not win the game, to like go top 4 just by playing around like something even as flexible as like ghostly mythic, right? Just play what the game gives you, right? Play some sorts of front line and just make it work, and it's still viable, right? But anyways, thank you for watching. Hopefully this was an enjoyable video, and yeah, sometimes we have like a little bit of high rolls. I'm working on hopefully having a general tutorial guide out tomorrow, and then my plan is to have 2 more tutorials out next week, right? The timing on that might be a little bit off, but if you're a beginner player and you look forward to those tutorial contents, make sure to stay tuned, because it's been a while since I did the last one, and I like to do them once a week. I've just been really busy with and preoccupied with some other life things. All right, thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.